In Brazil, candidate Lula da Silva takes part in a mass rally in Sao Paulo following Sunday's televised debate. Russia and Ukraine carried out a prisoner swap, allowing over 200 soldiers to return home. Senior Communist Party of China, the CPC leaders, attended a group of discussions of various delegations at the 20th CPC National Congress. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. In Brazil, candidate Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva held a mass rally in an outlying region of São Mateus after Sunday's televised debate in which Lula came out ahead of his opponent, Jair Bolsonaro. A crowd took to the streets this Monday to receive the candidates of the Workers' Party, Lula da Silva and Geraldo Alckmin, joined by the candidate of the Workers' Party for the government of Sao Paulo, Fernando Haddad, and the federal deputy-elect Guilherme Boulos. Former President Lula da Silva, together with his coalition, toured the city with calls to citizens to go to the polls on October 30th. This event takes place in the framework of his campaign for the runoff.
With less than 2 weeks to go before Election Day, Sunday's debate allowed candidates to present their proposal and challenge the arguments of their opponents. One of the central topics was the questioning of the current government's management of the coronavirus pandemic.
I'm not talking about lies, but scientific data. You delayed the purchase of vaccines, and there was a process of corruption even defined and denounced by the Parliamentary Commission of Inquiry. The concrete fact is that your negligence caused 680,000 people to die when more than a half could have been saved. The truth is that you did not care. You lost, you mocked, and said that whoever was vaccinated became a jacare, a homosexual. People could not be vaccinated and die without oxygen in Manaus, and you mocked them. There is no history of any government in the world that has played with the pandemic and with death as you have done.
Bolsonaro argued that his work in the face of the crisis was not public.
Mr. Lula, please. No one's family could know that. I visited hospitals. Yes, I visited them. Only that you did not know, and I don't do propaganda of what I do. Nor do I go around talking about what I do. I did worry about all the dead people in Brazil.
The debate was held in 3 blocks, which allowed the candidates to present their positions on the main issues. On Brazil's economic performance, Jair Bolsonaro attributed the nation's current figures to the international situation.
COVID-19 and the stay-at-home measures, the war that broke out in the world, skyrocketed food prices all over the world. And in Brazil, it was different. We have the obligation to look for an alternative. We went to Parliament, to the Senate. We presented a proposal, a project that was debated a lot. And in the end, Congress voted, and I sanctioned it. The tax ceiling was reduced from 17% to the maximum level. And I, as President of the Republic, I agree with all federal taxes on fuels.
Lula da Silva assured that the privatization policy of the state's strategic companies, advanced by Bolsonaro's administration, was contrary to the interests of the nation.
We have 392 companies importing gasoline from the United States without paying taxes and with dollarized prices. So the truth is that the price does not have to be dollarized because we export in reais. We pay salaries in reais and we go to the platforms. We used to explore the platforms, something that is no longer done, I believe. I am against privatization. Privatizing Petrobras would be crazy for the government. They end up privatizing gas pipelines and today we pay 3 billion reais per year in rent for the gas pipelines. So in 10 years, the money we earned have been consumed, and yet we continue to pay even more. So I sincerely believe that privatization is not the solution at all.
On October 30th, the people of Brazil will make the final decision. For the moment, opinion polls give Lula an 8-point lead over Bolsonaro.
Now we move on to other topics. In Haiti, security forces repressed demonstrations against government calls for foreign military intervention in the country. Citizens in Port-au-Prince marched to the headquarters of the United States Embassy to denounce the request for foreign troops and to demand the resignation of Prime Minister Ariel Henry, but were forced to disperse as security forces used tear gas and fire bullets to the air. These mobilizations throughout the country come in the midst of the social and the economic crisis facing Haiti due to the increase in fuel prices, the high cost of living, and the health crisis. And the United Nations Security Council met on Monday to discuss the political and security crisis in the Caribbean country. The international organization evaluated 2 possible resolutions, among them the possible deployment of military troops in Haiti. The proposal had some support in the Security Council, but some countries expressed reservations, pointing to recent protests in Haiti against foreign intervention and also pointing to major problems with the previous UN peacekeeping force in the country. The UN stabilization mission in Haiti from 2004 to 2017 was identified as the source of a cholera outbreak in 2010 that eventually killed some 10,000 people. We'll take a short break now, but first, remember you can follow us on our TikTok account at TeleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. In Venezuela, President Nicolás Maduro Moros toured the city of Las Tejerias, serving the recovery from work and the comprehensive care for the victims affected by the landslide that occurred on October 8th. President Maduro announced that the search and cleanup of the sector continues. The head of state also expressed his solidarity and support with the residents and merchants of the region due to the flood. The natural disaster caused devastation and left 54 people dead and 8 missing. And this Monday, Nicaragua's government sent a caravan of provisions and food to the families in the South Caribbean affected by Hurricane Julia. With the support of the World Food Program, authorities provided aid to the people following the passage of the weather phenomenon. It was also reported that operations to normalize basic services such as drinking water and cleaning of the affected areas continue. In this sense, brigades were mobilized for the restoration of telecommunications and electric services. Health authorities also undertake anti-epidemic campaigns to prevent illnesses.
On this occasion, we are sending food for the family. Since last week, we were delivering food. With this, we are sending food for the families of Rama City. We are aware that families are in the time of clearing their house. Many of them lost their food. So our president, with the sensitivity that characterizes him, and the vice president ordered the sending food urgently.
Today, for example, we are sending 45 tons of food for at least 3,000 families in Rama, both in urban and rural areas, consisting of rice, beans, and cooking oil. So it's a basic food basket, but it can relieve a little of the needs of the first few weeks.
The Nigerian government released a new report with updated figures on the devastation caused by the floods. Authorities registered more than 600 deaths and 1.3 million displaced. The latest reports register over 110,000 hectares of crops lost and more than 82,000 houses damaged. Authorities also informed that 2,000 people were injured. For her part, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Sadiya Umar Farouk, pointed out that although the rains have arrived at the expected time, the floods surprise everyone in sub-Saharan Africa, which has been hard hit by climate change. Now we address other topics. On Monday, Russia and Ukraine carried out a prisoner swap, allowing over 200 soldiers to go home. The Russian Defense Ministry reported that on October 17th, as a result of the negotiation process, 110 Russian citizens were returned from the territory controlled by the Kiev regime, including 72 Russian sailors from civilian ships held as prisoners since February 2022. Also, 108 female service persons of the Ukrainian armed forces were transferred to the Ukrainian side. As explained by the agency, all released Russian citizens will be transferred to Moscow in planes of the Russian airspace forces and will receive necessary medical and psychological assistance. On Monday, the European Union approved the reinforcement of its military support to Ukraine, including a training mission of its territory for 15,000 Ukrainian soldiers and a contribution to that country of another 500 million euros for armaments. EU diplomacy chief Joseph Borrell made the announcement at the end of the meeting of the European foreign ministers in Luxembourg. The launch of the training mission was the most anticipated outcome of the meeting. The idea is to use Poland as the main center of the mission that aims to provide basic training to some 12,000 soldiers and specialized training to some 2,800. Germany is to play a central role in this training mission. The Russian government confirmed that it will maintain its oil export levels and its role as strategic supplier on the international market, despite the imposition of new sanctions. During a meeting in the Russian Duma, Maxim Rezhkinikov, the Minister of Economic Development, stressed that without Russia, it is impossible to balance the world markets, recalling that Moscow accounts for 14% of the world oil production and 11% of the world exports. Therefore, Rezhkinikov assured that in spite of the continuous imposition of sanctions, a shift of exports to the eastern markets is already underway. Among the latest sanctions imposed on Russia by the European Union is the commitment to impose a global limit on the price of Russian oil and its derivatives so that shipping companies will only be able to transport it from Russia to the third countries if it is sold at or below the established price. And we have more news coming up after a final short break, so stay with us. Welcome back. Senior Communist Party of China leaders attended a group of discussions of various delegations at the 20th CPC National Congress, which opened on Sunday. The main topics discussed were the political, social, and economic situation of the country. Senators from the whole nation reported to the General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party and the President of the nation, Xi Jinping, the advances achieved in China in the past decade and recognized the effort of the people and the leadership of the party. Reform and opening up must be firmly pushed forward, they said, highlighting the importance of adhering to reforms to develop the socialist market economy, creating conditions to ensure fair market competition, and promoting high-level opening up, among others. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres on Monday called for an immediate end to violence in Ethiopia's Tigray region, saying the country is being torn apart by war. Guterres' comments came as the Ethiopian government threatened this Monday to seize control of airports and other locations in the Tigray, ignoring the African Union's call for an immediate and unconditional truce. The nearly two-year conflict has triggered a massive humanitarian crisis in Tigray and other areas of northern Ethiopia, with at least 2 million people driven from their homes and millions more in need of aid. Guterres also said that even before fighting resumed, 13 million people lacked adequate food in the Tigray, Amhara, and Afar regions.
There is no military solution. Civilians are paying a horrific price. Indiscriminate attacks, including in residential areas, are killing more innocent people every day, damaging critical infrastructure, and limiting access to vital services. And we are also hearing disturbing accounts of sexual violence and other acts of brutality against women, children, and men. All parties must adhere to their obligations under international humanitarian law. The United Nations is ready to support the African Union in every possible way to end this nightmare for the Ethiopian people. We need the urgent resumption of talks towards an effective, lasting political settlement.
UN spokesperson Stéphane Dujarric informed that 3 peacekeepers died this Monday when their vehicle hit an improvised explosive device in Tessalit, in the Kidal region of Mali. Dujarric said that the peacekeepers were on a mine search and detection patrol. 3 other peacekeepers were also seriously injured and are receiving treatment in a UN hospital.
Share with you some more tragic news from Mali, where 3 United Nations peacekeepers died today when their vehicle hit an improvised explosive device in Tessalit in the Kidal region of Mali. The peacekeepers were on a mine search and detection patrol. 3 other peacekeepers were also seriously injured and are receiving treatment in a UN hospital. We send our deepest condolences to the families of the peacekeepers, to our colleagues in the mission, and we wish a speedy recovery to those who were injured. Just to give you some context, this is obviously the latest incident in what is already a very challenging environment for UN peacekeeping. This year, already 12 UN peacekeepers were killed in Mali in hostile acts.
And we go to the sports. French striker Karim Benzema won the Ballon d'Or at the ceremony in Paris on Monday. The reward, coming after his stunning performances, helped Real Madrid win the Champions League and the Spanish league La Liga last season. Benzema, who is the first French winner of the most prestigious individual prize in football since Zinedine Zidane in 1998, scored 44 goals in 46 games for his club, including 15 in the Champions League. Benzema pushed Bayern Munich and Senegal star Sadio Mane into second place. Kevin De Bruyne of Manchester City and Belgium was third, with Barcelona and Poland star Robert Lewandowski coming fourth. Benzema is the oldest winner of the Ballon d'Or since the very first winner, Stanley Matthews, in 1956. And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.